At this time, I'd like to ask Chaplain Jerry Sims to please come forward and give us our invocation this evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chaplain. Everybody stand.
Would you pray in your faith as I pray in mine? Oh, gracious God, as this Enterprise City Council meeting begins, bless us with your wise and caring spirit. Guide our council members and participating citizens to use this time well to enhance the life of our city. Help us to set aside our personal agendas so that all deliberations can be conducted with mutual respect, even in the face of disagreement. Keep us mindful that cooperation is the foundation to accomplishment, and compromise for honest purposes is not a sin. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated. Council, in your packet, you have the minutes for July 9th, 2018, July the 17th, 2018, July the 25th, 2018 work sessions, and the July 17th regular session. I will entertain a motion that we approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
We have a motion that we approve. Do I hear a second?
Second motion.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, normal sign. Council, you have also the adopt with the agenda for this evening. Looking over that, do we have any additions to this agenda?
Mr. President, I move we adopt the agenda as submitted with one addition. As the first item in new business, add an item to consider the future of the curbside recycling program.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of adding this to the agenda signify by the normal sign. We'll take that up in new business. We have a request to address the council this evening. Recognize Tyler Mock, representing the High Point Church, who is requesting to address the council to obtain a permit for a praying circle around the circle, prayer walk.
How's it going?
Yeah.
So every year our church, we do an event called 21 Days of Prayer, and to kick off that event, we as members of our church, we break up into 5 or 6 groups, and we just walk around the circle in about 2 and 2.5 mile segments. And while we're doing that, we are praying for our city and our leadership and our schools and our churches. It's just one big morning prayer.
Chief Jones?
We've done it last several years.
Okay, okay,
It's not a problem.
okay. Council, you've heard the request. What is your desire concerning the request from Reverend Mock?
Make a motion we grant the request.
We have a motion that we grant the request. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we grant the request. Any discussion? All those in favor by the normal sign. It is unanimous. We also have another request to address the council. Carrie Ann Simmons. Carrie Ann, from the Southeast Community Action Partnership.
Hello, my name is actually Latofia Jones here representing Corinne Simmons for Southeast Alabama Community Action Agency. I would first like to thank you all for the previous years in assisting our agency, and we're just here again asking in submitting our request for appropriations. I have a letter on her behalf and also some agency brochures for you all to have.
Okay, if you would hand that to. Thank you, and we'll take that under advisement. Thank you. At this time, we will have privilege of the floor. If there's any others who would like to come and to address the council, we will allot you 3 minutes. Do we have anybody that wishes to address the council? Come forward. If you'll see the clerk first.
Carrie Ann Ayers. C-A-R-R-I-E. Got it? Good. I also had pictures that I wanted to show you. Do you want me to give it to him so he can?
Sure. Could you please give us your name?
Yes, sir.
Move the mic over,
Here.
please.
Yeah, there you go.
Carrie Ann Ayers.
What's your last name, I'm sorry?
Carrie Ann Ayers. A-Y-E-R-S.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
My name is Carrie Ann Ayers, and I live at 1931 Geneva Highway. This past Friday, on August 3rd, a pig was mutilated and tortured, as the pictures show, close to my house on Geneva Highway, by dogs that live at that address. The police were called, and the owner of the dogs and the pigs came home. He was called by his son, and he came home. The son was also as a resident at the time of the mauling of this pig. Police officer that came to the house was called, stated that there was nothing that could be done except to call animal control on Monday. In the meantime, the owner of the pig that came home from work placed the mutilated and still live pig and the dogs into the house and went back to work, rather than attempting to take the pig immediately to the vet. I believe that he just made the situation worse by taking the pig and the dogs into the house. It wasn't until later that evening that the pig was taken to the vet and had to be euthanized due to its wounds. With all the city ordinances and state laws in place for cruelty to animals, why is it being stated by the police that nothing could be done and animal control has its hands tied? Why is it that these people cannot be severely fined for the torture of this pig? If it were one of their children or one of my children that were attacked by these dogs, the dogs would have been put down already and the owners in jail or perhaps fined. What's to say that the dogs will not attack when they are let loose and come into my yard, which they have had done several times? And every day the dogs in their possession can be heard whining and yelping, another violation of a city ordinance. These people have no right to own any type of animal due to the neglect and stupidity and ignorance is not an excuse for this situation. I would just appreciate answers to the questions and what is going to be done rather than just being stated nothing can be done.
Have you come down and talked to the police chief concerning this?
I have not done that. I have talked to another police officer, and he said that on that Friday, the police officer at least should have taken a report. There are other people that are going to talk about the incident that have talked to the police, and not the first time a report was not taken, and that's all that was told, is that nothing could be done. So,
How many dogs are at the residence that you're talking about?
there's several dogs. I don't know how many. They kind of hoard the dogs inside, but at least like 5 or 7 are out. They have a fenced-in area. We live about 3 acres, 2 points, so many rounded off to 3 acres, but half of that is fenced off by a chain link fence, and majority of the time half of the dogs are out there, and from 2 houses away where I live, I can hear them whining, whimpering. 2 days before on Friday, 2 days before Friday, my husband heard the pig squealing, and he stated to me that he believed that the dogs were attacking the pig because of the way it was just squealing, I guess, in pain. It just wasn't, I guess,
This is a pet pig,
I would assume it's a pet pig. I mean,
not a wild hog, or
No,
this
it's
is
No.
Potbelly pig.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. But on the picture where the other side is just as bad. The other ear was also, anyway. But
Chief? Okay.
Ms. Ayers, do you want your pictures?
no, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Janice Williams, Janiece.
What's your address, please?
1891 Geneva Highway. And it is on the same section.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janice Williams, and thank you very much for letting me speak this evening. My husband and I were involved in this situation with the pig living next door to us. These people have 20.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
These people have 25 to 30 or more dogs. They have been our neighbors for about 12 years. A lot of them dogs stay in the house. They also have cats, birds, ferrets. They claim to be animal rescuers, but they are actually animal hoarders. They have 3 children, 2 which are minor children, 1 which is 21 that lives at home and does not work. We have had our ups and downs over the years, but we've tried to be good neighbors, but they tend to get more and more and rescue more animals. And often these animals get out of the fenced-in area. They run through our yard wild. They run over to our neighbor's yard. We each have a dog, and we have to protect that. I've had 4 cats killed this year that belong to me, and they've been killed by their dogs. You can't really control where a cat goes, but now I'm having to force my cats to stay in. And I have a chain link fence all around my property, plus a fence around my pool. And these dogs run wild when they so choose to get out, and often the people aren't home. The incident Friday with the pig, my husband came running in. He said I was using the blower to blow off my lawnmower, and I could hear this screaming, and he shut it off, and he said there was a pig, and he screaming, and he ran over there to see what he could do. And he said the dogs had blood all over them. They were tormenting this pig, and there were about 5 to 7 dogs out there of various sizes, large and small. And he tried to shoo the dogs away. He called the police. He ran back in the house. He got me. I ran out. When I saw it, I called the police, and the response was, "We're trying to find somebody to come out there." And I said, "Call animal control. Please get someone out here. This is terrible. This animal's being torn apart." And so we didn't think anyone was at home, but the son comes out, and he's 15 or 16 years old, I don't know which, a very nice young man. And he said, "Well, I didn't hear anything." And I said, "Please get these dogs in the house. This pig is being mutilated." And he was very upset by it. He got the dogs, and I said, "Please call your father," because the father works in town here. He called his father. His father came home in about 2 minutes, went inside the house. I guess he must have taken the pig and brought it in the house with the dogs, and got back in the truck. My husband and I had already come back to our property waiting for the police, and he stopped and opened the door, and he just blasted us for trespassing, for getting involved, and that that the pig was going to be taken care of. And then drove off to finish his route. And it took about another 10 minutes before a police officer showed up, and when she did, I think she was a fairly new officer. She kept calling her supervisor. She looked in the backyard. She said, I don't see the pig. And I said, well, listen, I want to press charges of neglect, cruelty, something. I said, you just don't put animals like that together and leave. And she said, well, there's nothing I can do. This is an animal control issue. And I asked her, I said, well, where is animal control? And she said, they don't work on Saturday. And I said, but it's Friday. And she said, well, he's off today. And I said, so what's going to happen? And she said that he would follow up. And I said, when? Monday? I said, this animal's in the house. Are you at least going to go to the door and look? No, my supervisor says I can't do anything. So by that time, I had to turn and walk away, and my husband stayed to talk with her. And you know, at that point, I was just very upset and very disgusted with the whole thing. But fortunately, Animal Control did call me Monday. I had a nice long talk with him, and I feel like, you know, he never said anything to me, but I've lived in this community long enough to know that you need at least 2 animal control officers. I don't know why in a city this size we don't have animal control. My grandchildren, when they visit, my neighbors' children, I shouldn't have to live like that just because they want to have 30 dogs. And dogs run in packs when they get combined like that, and pack animals are dangerous.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
James Williams, 1891 Geneva Highway. Honorable Mayor and City Council, I appreciate this time to speak with you. What my wife was telling you about was very traumatic to her. She has, and very few people have probably never seen anything get ripped apart by a pack of dogs. But when I heard the pigs squealing, I knew it was a big problem. And I didn't think anyone was home. I waited for a few minutes before I even went, but nobody ever came to the door. So that's the reason we did what we did. But, you know, I think we need to start a conversation on maybe a little bit better animal control, how we can improve, maybe look at other cities of comparable growing cities, Montgomery, Troy, and look at their policies and how they do, and see if they're working there, and see if they might work for our community here. These same people, we talk about problems in raising a lot of animals. They had rabbits at one time, and they wound up with like 3 dozen rabbits that wasn't in the cage. They would look like snowballs in your yard. Well, the driveway dinger was dinging at 2 o'clock in the morning one night. My wife got up and went down. There's 4 coyotes in the edge of the yard smelling around where all these rabbits were. And, you know, in a couple of weeks, there wasn't any more rabbits. So a child get out there with that's going on, it could be quite hazardous. Even a rabbit, you walk out there, you could get attacked yourself. Like they said, we were told that animal control was available 24/7, but as you have heard, it's not. So, you know, what can we do? You live in a community where we want you to feel safe, you want your pets to feel safe and go outside, but, you know, we don't do that. We don't feel safe anymore. Thank you. Thank you.
Chief?
Well, first of all, we have always had 2 animal control officers, okay? I can't help that one of them had some issues in retiring, okay? But we haven't filled that slot, which I can't fill overnight because this individual is still on our time going through it. But we have 2. They are entitled to some off time, and this one was off during those hours, okay? The officers try to handle the animal control things that occur when they're not working. You know, this is what some of the things I don't understand about the situation. I understand it was a tragic thing and them have to witness this. But at the same time, I'm painting a picture of all these horrible things that's going on that property, and there's only been like 2 calls to the police department for a stray dog. I'm talking about now putting in that person's address, your address, and the address next to them. There was a stray dog and then an animal attack, and then there was a issue with the landline things that went there. That's the only thing the police department has had. Captain Darby, he saw all the stuff going on Facebook today about it, and he contacted one of the individuals, I don't know which, and trying to talk to them and trying to get, you know, I would have liked for him to maybe done a little more and made a report at least, but we're trying to work with them, and Darby was trying to make contact, but nobody's came down to the PD since Friday or Monday or Tuesday to complain or talk to the chief or talk to the captain. So we're looking into the matter. There may be charges, there may not be charges. We're looking in. Pig belonged to the gentleman. The pig had been in the yard for a couple of weeks, that's what I'm told, with the dogs without any real issue. Yeah. Right. So, but we haven't had anything reported. That, you know, I went out Monday. I counted 8 dogs in the backyard. So, I don't know how many dogs is over there. We are looking into the matter. And
Chief Jones, is there any ordinance or anything about how many animals a person can own in the city limits?
Jared. They have 3 acres, but I think each individual house has 3 acres. Yeah. So, I mean, the animal control issue that they stated today is not. Only until maybe 4 weeks ago did we not have 2 officers and somebody working every day. So
7 days a week.
No, Sunday we did not have anybody. They cross over off days. One's off Friday, Saturday, and the other one's off Sunday, Monday.
So the goal is to have 2 on duty 6 days a week.
Yeah, we wanted somebody. We really wanted them on duty 2 days a week for school, for kids walking to school and dogs, and to be able to handle it during the day until late at night. One of them works about 8 o'clock. So they come on at 7:30 and work till 8. So we've lost the 12 to 8 guy.
By current city ordinance, what obligation does a citizen have to seek medical attention for their own injured animal?
That's something I'd have to. I was not aware that the guy left and come back. Because all the information I had that occurred was that he came home and took it and had it euthanized.
Okay.
So I wasn't aware of the 2 hours. I guess it was a 2-hour delay before he came back.
But you are continuing to look at it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Captain Darby's looking into it.
All right.
We sent. He's talked to her, this lady here, and she had a report made, and the animal control officer. Did he come to your house or just take it?
I'm sorry.
You talked to the animal control officer?
I talked to animal control, but I had an officer come out to make an official report because I couldn't get the right officer.
Right. And we're going to deal with that.
Yeah,
But they don't handle that much, that type of crime, you know. So it's more handled by the animal control officers, but we'll get that taken care of. So
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. And I know the chief will be looking into it. Yes, ma'am. Under old business, this is to call for a public hearing prior to the consideration of ordinance 070318, providing for the annexation and zoning of 129.09 acres owned by Shane Howell and Faye Stewart into the city limits and to establish zoning as residential R100. Council, what is there anybody that we have that will speak for this or speak against it at this time? Okay. Council, what is your desire concerning this ordinance?
I move that we approve the ordinance 070318.
We have a motion that we approve the ordinance. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the ordinance, normal sign. Yes. Next, we have to call for public hearing prior to consideration of ordinance 07-03-18-A, providing for the rezone of 40.27 acres owned by Shane Howell and Faye Stewart from AG2 Agricultural District to R100 Residential District. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak for or against? Council, what are your desires concerning this ordinance?
I make a recommendation that we pass ordinance 07-03-18A.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second that we pass the ordinance. Any discussion? All those in favor by the normal sign. Next, under new business. The first order of business under new business is concerning recycling.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we begin phase 1 of changing our recycling program on October 1st, 2018. And the key points of phase 1 would be to cease the curbside residential recycling program, to transition the employees into other vacant positions, to open a temporary collection site immediately, for the county to continue to partner with us and to process the recyclables in the transition period, to continue the commercial collection of OCC as is, to begin an education campaign regarding the details of our recycling program, and to begin the design of a convenience center and the application for grants through ADM and other available sources for the construction of the same.
Council, you heard that we've ceased curbside service and go into phase 1 as you heard. Do I hear a motion?
That was in the form of a motion. I did that in the form of a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second that we cease curbside recycle and start phase 1. Any discussion? All those in favor, the normal sign. Next, we have to review and consider an agreement. Introduce and call for consideration of an agreement with Public Resource Management Alliance Corporation, Permacore, in the amount of $35,000 for consulting services related to the review of the city's business license code. Council, what are your desires concerning this agreement?
I move we approve the agreement.
We have a motion that we approve the agreement. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the agreement. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the agreement, please signify by the normal sign. Opposed? It is passed. Next is to introduce and call for consideration of accounts payable A for July 2018 in the amount of $618,082.25 as follows. City, $511,244.84. Waterworks Board, $106,837.41. Council, what is your desire concerning accounts payable?
I
Make
make
a
a motion to
motion
pay accounts payable.
We have a motion to pay accounts payable. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second that we approve accounts payable. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, the normal sign. Next is to review and consider contract billings. Introduce and call for consideration the following contract billings. Poly Incorporated, invoice number 17399 in the amount of $8,475 for the preliminary design permitting for College Street roadway crossing. Next, we have Ewing Connor Associates Incorporated, invoice number 2 for $3,000 for contract administrative services, project number LRED PF-14-127. Next, we have Carterford County Commission, invoice number 159 in the amount of $34,015.64, which is the city's portion of project on Shellfield Road turn lanes at Shell Heliport. Council, what are your desires concerning contract billing?
I move we approve contract billing.
We have a motion that we approve contract billing. Do I hear a second?
Second motion.
We have a motion and second that we approve contract billing. Any discussion?
Glenn, would you mind explaining to the public what College Street crossing is, roadway crossing?
The roadway crossing is a culvert replacement project on College Street in the bottom. The project's been ongoing. It's actually funded through a FHWA, or Federal Highway Administration grant. It's been dragging on for quite some time, and the reason is there's a small amount of right-of-way acquisition that's required, and that process has kind of held up the whole thing. That process is still continuing. The city now has an agreement that DOT has agreed to fund that right-of-way acquisition, and we're waiting right now on authorization from DOT in order to keep that process going. So that I expect that any time, but that's where that project, that's kind of the details of that project. But
Have all the people agreed now with the property?
not completely. That process is still part of that acquisition process, so that's still being worked through that. But
While you're up here, would you mind telling us about the resurfacing of College
glad
Street?
to. There's a resurfacing project from where the culvert is there on College Street, just past Kentucky, all the way to the bypass. Wiregrass Construction Company is a contractor on that. We received word this week that they have scheduled to start putting up construction signs on the 16th of this month, and they should start work on the 20th of this month, which I believe is a Monday. Maybe probably a two-week project as far as the actual field work on that. So that'll be done then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mayor?
Also, Michael has contacted the school bus supervisor to let him know that the street will be being worked on, and of course they can reroute the school bus and they'll come up on College Street.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving contract billing, normal sign. Next is a request and permission to purchase duty pistols. Introduce and call for consideration of a request from Police Chief T.D. Jones to purchase 67 Glock Model 5, Glock number 17 9mm pistol from Walter Craig, LLC, Law Enforcement Division. The pistols, at a cost of $409 each, are packaged with night sights and 3 magazines and will replace the Glock 22 40 caliber pistols purchased in 2010. The department will receive a trade-in credit in the amount of $235 for each of the 61 Glock 22 pistols to significantly reduce the cost of this purchase. The total cost of the new Glock 17 pistols after trade-in will be $13,068, with funding included in the FY 2018 budget. Council, what are your desires concerning this request?
I'll make a motion to grant the request.
We have a motion that we grant the request. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we grant the request. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, the normal sign. Okay. Next is request to permission to purchase a K-9 dog. Introduced and called for consideration of a request from Police Chief T.D. Jones for the purchase of a K-9 dog from Bullock K-9. The price in the amount of $8,800 will include 4 to 6 weeks of training for the dog and the handler, plus room and board. Further request is made to allow K-9 Officer Keith Lindley to adopt K-9 Hugo due to his retirement. Council, what are your desires concerning this request?
I move we grant the request.
We have a motion that we grant the request. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor? Next, we have a review and consider the following travel request. Engineering, Jared Alexander, 2018 for the Alabama Airport Conference, which is September the 17th through the 18th, 2018 in Mobile, Alabama, with an estimated cost of $690. We have a request from the fire department. Clark Thompson, Chris Wise, Matthew Flint, Airport Firefighter Certification Class, which will be held October the 13th through the 17th, 2018 in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. The estimated cost is $2,330. Next, we have a request from Parks and Recreation for Blake Moore Certified Youth Sports Administrators Workshop, which will be held August the 28th through the 29th, 2018 in Homewood, Alabama. The estimated cost is $520. Billy Powell and Blake Moore for the ARPA Board of Directors meeting and working sessions, which will be held September the 18th through the 20th, 2018 at Orange Beach, Alabama. The estimated cost is $1,150. Next, from the police department, we have Sergeant Anthony Phillips, ANOA Summer Conference, August the 28th through the 30th, 2018 in Orange Beach, Alabama. The estimated cost is $821. Next, Sergeant Mark Anderson, Detective William Ezel, Alabama Law Enforcement Alliance Conference, which will be held August the 29th through the 31st, 2018 at Orange Beach, Alabama, with an estimated cost of $1,520. Next, we have tourism. Tammy Dewar, Main Street, Alabama Downtown Training, which will be held August the 22nd through the 24th, 2018 in Eufaula, Alabama, with an estimated cost of $658.96. Council, what are your desires concerning these travel requests?
I move that we approve the travel request.
We have a motion that we grant the travel request. Do I hear a second?
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second that we grant the travel request. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, the normal sign. Next, we have a request for call for consideration of the approval of an event to be held downtown on September the 8th, 2018, sponsored by Downtown Enterprise Business Association. Because the event, which will be known as Motown Downtown, involves the proposed service of alcoholic beverages, the council will need a report from Chief Jones regarding his recommendations, and the council will also need to approve the boundary lines of the event and reference the streets. Chief Jones? Chief?
We've all came to agreement, I think, on everything. Tammy will probably tell you some other things, but it'll be from we're going to block the streets like we always do for the downtown events, from Lee Street to Harrison to Railroad over to Edward Street. But the where the alcohol is going to be served, there'll be a barrier at Grubbs, and they will not be able to go any further than Grubbs Street, west or east towards City Hall. And the hours are.
The event hour is 10 to 3, but actually we'll be closing the streets from 8 to 4. That allows for the vendors, not only the alcohol vendors, but all the other event things to be set up, and also then an hour after for them to be able to clean up and pack up. So it's just a little bit of an extension on that, and not so much because of the alcohol, but because of the other events that they have going on.
Okay. Thank you. Council, what is your desire concerning this request for approval?
I recommend that we approve the downtown event.
We have a motion that we approve the downtown event. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the downtown event. Do you have any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, do we need to clearly state the boundary lines according to the ordinance?
Yes, sir, we do, and we have done that with the ABC board.
But
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mayor Rayner has done that. According to the ABC board, before the vendor that does alcohol we have to actually provide a map. Mark
But I'm
where
just
the-
saying for our ordinance purposes tonight, I think we need to state. Am I right, Ryan? Can somebody state the actual, because we don't have it in writing of what the boundaries are. You have a map, but I didn't.
We have a map, so it's the one that's on the map. And I'm sorry, we didn't know that we needed to provide that for you.
We're going from Lee Street on Main Street to Harrison. We're going to block that like we always have, because that's the best place to turn the traffic. And then they'll come up to Railroad Street, and they'll come Edwards Street. They can go back and forth to Edwards, and that first block of College and the second block of College will be in there. But the area designated for the alcohol will not go past Grub Street. Okay, that'll be
But the other three boundaries,
human barrier.
the other three boundaries will be the
same.
the ones that you just stated.
Correct.
Okay.
That's on the map.
Thank you, it's on.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
All right.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, what is your desire? Please vote the normal sign. Next is to introduce and call for consideration of a request to set the city's official hours for trick-or-treating Halloween to be on Wednesday, October the 31st from 5:30 to 7. Council, what is your desire concerning this call for consideration of trick-or-treat?
I move that we accept the request.
We have a motion that we accept the request. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we grant the request. Any discussion? All those in favor? Next is to call for nomination for a 4-year term to the Enterprise Library Board to fill the expired board seats of the following: Becky Armstrong and Tammy Young. Council, at this time, I will call for nominations for the person who will take the place of Becky Armstrong.
Mr. President, I nominate Rhonda Byron.
We have a nomination of Rhonda Byron. Do we have any other nominations? All those in favor, the normal sign. Next, here are nominations to fill the term of Tammy Young. Do we have any nomination concerning the Tammy Young's position?
Mr. President, I nominate Terry Boswell.
We have a nomination of Terry Boswell. Are there any other nominations? At this time, those who are in approval of Tammy Boswell, please. Next, Mayor.
Mr. President, we would just started, and we'll have a lot of children, some of them riding bikes and walking. And of course, they have different speed limits in the school zone. So we're gonna have to be careful, and of course, over in the afternoon when kids are getting out, whenever you see a ball go in the street, usually it's a boy behind that ball, but sometimes a girl too. But we got to be careful and to make sure that our children are well taken care of. Thank you for coming.
Ms. Rich?
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you all for addressing us with your concerns.
In Sunday's paper, there was a letter to the editor from Ms. Pat Hudson, and it was addressed, and it said, "Stop Enterprise from becoming a litter bug." I agree with her tremendously. We do have a litter problem. We discussed that today at our work session, and we talked with Chief Jones about enforcing the litter laws. But she also discussed the cutting of the grass. I think the City of Enterprise goes over and beyond their requirements for cutting grass. We're cutting grass on state highways. We pick up litter before we cut. But I thank Ms. Pat Hudson for her letter to the editor. Thank y'all for coming.
I'd like to thank all our guests for coming. Thank y'all for bringing that to our attention about the animal tonight. And maybe we can get some kind of resolution from that.
Yep, thank everybody for coming. Ditto what they said. I'm certainly following that situation, so hopefully we can come to a resolution there.
Ms. Williams had called me also. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all also for coming. And I thank everyone else for coming. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.